We have long known that Andrew Cuomo is Donald Trump's puppet in this race.
To actually make change, to actually get something done, you need to know how government works, how the city works.
It's more difficult as a Republican because the deck is stacked against you in a predominantly Democratic city.
Oh, America, we have never had to pay attention very much to the results of a mayor's race in New York City until now. And Tuesday night's going to blow the doors off you for political fascination, all right? Here we go, the 5 boroughs. Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist. Curtis Sliwa, running again as a Republican. Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat, running as an independent. 4 years ago, here is how it shakes down. 4 of the 5 boroughs, deep blue, right? Eric Adams at 67%. The area where Sliwa did the best with about 70% of the vote was down here in Staten Island, but elsewhere, he just got blown out, all right? Come back to 2025, and this is what we've done for you for election night. This is the borough of Queens, okay? Folks at home, I want you to understand how many countless interesting stories there are in each of the 5 boroughs. This is just one right now. You're going to meet a Democratic congressman who represents part of this district coming up momentarily here. All right, so this is Queen. We'll put on our locator map here. Population, 1 borough, America. Population, 2.4 million people. Foreign born in Queens, 48%. Languages spoken, 160. Do you get the idea here? I mean, this is just a tapestry of culture and ethnicity and religion and politics. And man, it all comes together come Tuesday night. Now, our guest here, Tom Suozzi, Democrat, he represents a little portion here of the northeastern section of Queens. He's with me now, and sir, good morning to you. You have endorsed Andrew Cuomo. You are strongly against Zohran Mamdani. Let me show you the early voting and numbers that wrapped up yesterday on Sunday. Manhattan, good turnout, 212,000. Brooklyn, 243,000. Queens, 166,000. I don't know who wins. I know you're putting your smart money on Cuomo. Let's see whether or not that works. How does your party change at sunlight Wednesday morning if Zohran Mamdani is the mayor of New York City?
Yeah, I think that someone asked me before, is Zohran Mamdani the future of the Democratic Party? I said, no, he's the future of the Democratic Socialist Party. He's not a Democrat, and I'm a Democratic capitalist, not a Democratic socialist. And the Democrats need to get back to our basic message of fighting for the middle class and the people who aspire to the middle class, to focus on the economic issues that made our country strong and made the Democratic Party the party of working families. And we need to get back to that basic. Now, Mamdani is doing a good job, the same as President Trump is, which is tapping into people's economic insecurity. I just happen to think that his solutions are wrong. And Democrats need to recognize that the number one issue facing American people is economic insecurity, concerns about cost of living, but we can't fall for this trap.
Okay, there was a poll that came out among Democrats, frustration with your party compared to Republicans. Frustration with their own party. Democrats are lean Democrats, 67%. Republicans were way back there at 40%. What's that tell you?
You know, if you ask the American people what are the issues you care about the most, they're going to say the cost of living, immigration, taxes, crime, and health care. That's what the American people are concerned about. If you ask those same people what are the Democrats pushing, they'll say abortion rights, LGBT protections, health care, so there's some crossover with health care, saving democracy, and climate change. Those are all important issues, but that's not what the American people are talking about. The American people are talking about, and they want to hear solutions about, what are you going to do about my life, about my cost of living? What are you going to do about this immigration issue? What are you going to do about taxes? What are you going to do about crime? What are you going to do about health care? That's why this debate about the shutdown right now, which is about the affordability, number one issue, of health care, one of the big issues that people care about, is an important fight to have. But we need to get the Democrats talking more and more often about the issues that the American people care about.
Okay, I'm looking at all the Democrats that are represented in Congress and the House. There are a lot of them here in the 5 boroughs, a lot. And they're split. Some like Mamdani and some are holding their fire. Barack Obama over the weekend apparently had a conversation on the phone with Mamdani. Here's the headline, New York Times. Obama calls Mamdani to praise his campaign and offers to be sounding board. No endorsement from him. What are we to read into the fact that Barack Obama did not endorse what appears to be, well, the potential winner tomorrow? Let's leave it at that.
I think that, we have to look at the fact that Mamdani, again, like President Trump, is a very charismatic person. He's a very effective campaigner. He knows how to use social media. He's very intelligent. And he's tapped into this anxiety people have about their finances, and the same as President Trump has. The problem is his solutions, raise taxes in New York, raise the minimum wage in New York, are bad ideas because New York's not competitive with the rest of the country. I'm all for raising taxes on wealthy people. I'm all for raising the minimum wage in our country. But let's not make it just New York, where we're chasing businesses, we're chasing individuals out of our state. When I was born, there were 40 some odd members of Congress from New York State. Today, there's 26 members of Congress from New York State, and it's going to go down in the next census. Why? Florida and Texas are growing. Places like New York are not growing.
But I thought I just heard you say that you support raising taxes. And if you do that, you're going to chase more people away.
I only support it at the national level. I wouldn't support it at the local level because people are leaving our state. I don't want someone to say I'm moving to Florida or Texas because I can have lower taxes there. Wherever you go in the country, I'm all for you paying higher taxes anywhere in the country.
I appreciate you coming. Let me just make one more point. I don't think America understands this because our focus has been on the flight out of California going back to 2020. New York State has led the country and those who have moved out of the Empire State. You can't continue to afford this trend. Last comment, sir.
I agree with that, Bill. I think that New York State is a fantastic place, but we have to make it more competitive for people to live here, to afford to live here, and for businesses to stay here. We can't keep on hemorrhaging people to North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Florida. I don't want to become like Texas and Florida, where they don't pay their teachers and they have a bunch of uninsured children and a bunch of uninsured adults. But we have to recognize that we're in a competitive environment as to where people are going to live in our country. We can't have a race to the bottom, but we have to make our state more attractive.
All right, appreciate you coming on. We hear from a lot of folks in Texas and Florida that they're pretty happy where they live. We'll see if that remains the same here in New York State. Thank you, sir. We'll talk again. Tom Suozzi, the Democrat from New York. Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.